Good afternoon and welcome to Tuesday Coffee Catch-Ups. Exciting to be here. It was such a great catch-up yesterday we had with Tim, who, for those of you that have, you definitely want to jump in and have a bit of a catch-up on that episode. It was really cool to hear his journey. And it's really exciting again today to be bringing on a guest, someone who was introduced to Wealth Mentor a few years ago, and to see his really cool story of what he's done at an extremely young age as well, might I add. He's going to make me look extremely old today, but I guess you can't hide the truth from what it is. But I want to make sure that everybody is there and they're able to hear me. I can see there's a few people watching. I got a nice little live symbol in the top left of my screen. So hit us up with a like, with a comment, say hello, say good afternoon, say good morning if you are in Australia. And talking about Australia, the guest today, Matt, are you there, my friend?
Yes, mate. How are you?
Awesome. Welcome. And yes, talking about Australia, we've got a little bit of an Australian accent there. There you go. Thank you, Tim. You did well yesterday, my friend Tim, jumping in with a comment there. So Australian accent, but you're not actually living in Australia. You've seen the light and you've come over to New Zealand. Well, not very light today. It's quite a gloomy old day out there. But talk us a little bit about who you are and what you're doing living in New Zealand with that strange accent of yours.
Yes, mate. Happy to. Yeah, we moved here about 2019. We decided to jump ship from Australia and move over. But we probably moved. When we moved over, I was 21 and my partner was 19, and we were just commenting on that before. I said, "Shit, you were young." But we had a project on. We literally just moved here with our suitcases. We had about 30 grand in the bank, one house, and no idea what to do. And we went from there, to be honest.
Yeah, it's such a cool story. And I love the fact that you've gone into it at such a young age and really gone, it's such a massive step, and it's such a mature step as well. So, hats off to you there. I was joking with you beforehand and going, well, I guess you decided not to go over and get on the piss in Europe, but you did that as well. So you must have started really young to get that in as well.
Yeah, mate. Well, my background is hotels. So I actually left school when I was 15 to go work in hotels. My father's got a couple that there's a law in Australia that if your father owns them, you can serve alcohol. So you don't have to be 18. And I, to be honest, was useless at school, like a terrible student. I was at a college and he's just like, "Matt, you're costing me a lot of money. Why don't you come to work?" And I said, "Well, that'll interest me a lot more." So I 15 went to pubs, worked in them for years, and then did Europe, come back, and then realized that, well, actually did the Wealth Mentor. We did the 3-day course and realized, shit, there's an easier way to make money than hospitality, because hospitality is long hours, 2 a.m. sort of hours, 3 a.m. dealing with drunks. And then you've got a house that doesn't talk back to you. It's a much better option. I think, we thought it was a much better option than pubs. So that's our background.
Awesome. That's quite a cool story. And, it's amazing how everyone's journey is so different. Every time I bring anybody on here, the journey is so different for so many people. And I think yours is pretty unique as well, in the fact that you've made that commitment to come over to New Zealand and really get into the investing full time. So we first met you at one of our cash flow masterclasses, the 3-day Wealth Mentor event. You said that was 2018 that we saw you, wasn't it? That we first met you?
It was 2018. Yep.
Yeah, over in Australia.
2018.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then moved over to New Zealand. Yeah, I moved over to New Zealand in 2019. You'd done one deal by then. What has actually happened with your investing journey since that one deal and since the move over to New Zealand?
Yeah, really cool. So since that deal, once we moved here, we just found that we were able to explode a bit quicker. So since then, we've actually done 18 projects now in the matter of about 2 years. And that's just begging money from anyone and whoever will give us money to buy real estate and find more deals. And we've built it from there. It started with us on the tools and stuff. We started out, like I said, we had 30 grand in the bank, and I had a couple of credit cards that got maxed out pretty quickly. As we know, renovating can get expensive. So we started on paintbrushes, doing whatever we could. And then slowly, as we got more capital, we brought in, people to help us and stuff. And now we're fully hands off and have gone down that model.
Well, hands off completely. I mean, you've got projects going on down south at the moment, and we're stuck in Auckland at the moment. You're in Auckland as well in level 4, so you can't be forced to go on the hands off. But I think that's a real transition as an investor, and it's a moment I remember as well, going that transition through the first couple of deals I was in there, and I should never have been. I mean, my prior history of renovations are terrible. There's no way I should have been allowed to. Anyway, gave it a good crack, and then your evolution as an investor, you start to move into that more project management and start to use up here more. And that's always a nice little process. So in terms of strategies, has your strategy evolved over that period as well?
Oh, strategy, like I feel sorry for my partner because it changes every 4 minutes. Well, especially when we first started out, it really did. So the original was buying and selling. Then we were starting to do stuff for other people, and then we went back to buying and selling. Then we decided to hold, realised that that's not our model. So it's all gone back to buying and selling, and we should have stuck to that the whole time. But now we're actually about to build 16 new houses. So we're transitioning from older properties into new builds, into the developing side. So that's how the strategy has just grown over the journey.
That's awesome. And I think I love the fact, again, a lot of our students go through that evolution, and you've just fast-tracked it by going, I guess you could almost say, balls deep in the whole thing and getting into it, which is amazing. So in terms of the developments, is the plan for those to flip them on? Have you thought that, through the process beyond the building of those properties?
Yeah, I have. And it's funny you say that. So it is to flip those on, and we'll keep doing that. But talking to my business partner about it, who's an ex-Wealth Mentor student as well. And, the ultimate wealth creation, we do believe, is in hanging on to real estate. So once we've built up a capital and got a business that's sustainable and making money, well, then we will transition into using that to be able to create wealth by holding as much as we can.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, probably one person you'd want to have a look at their model is Helen, who's one of our mentors, and what she's been able to do in terms of actually develop, but create ways of being able to refinance out and be able to pull the money out, and essentially then being able to go again and holding these properties, building huge wealth. I mean, she's created she's got well over $10 million worth of property that she owns now, using the strategy, which is really cool to see. And it's always nice, I guess, within the Wealth Mentor family, how there's always that person that's inspiring you or pushing you or you want to achieve. Have you found that and been part of the network and the different people that you hang out with and you interact with?
Oh, incredible. Like since the Wealth Mentor thing, like as I said, my business partner's an ex-Wealth Mentor student who I actually met through the mortgage broker that you guys use. Gave me his phone number. We had a chat. I would never have made that connection. Now, we've got some amazing friends up here, all just through that network, and how much the model also changes, talking to everyone and getting everyone's different opinions and stuff. But yeah, unbelievable, considering we were just from a little town in Australia that, working in a pub, to meeting some really, really cool people all through this program.
Yeah, it gives me a lot of joy, and I think I got a little bit of shivers there, you mentioning that. So it's something quite inspiring. A big part of why we do this, I think, is hearing those stories. So, all right, so Matt, 23 years old. I mean, yes, it's impressive what you've achieved. And do you think that you are wired differently? What makes you tick? Why are you at 23 years old creating this successful or have this goals in your life?
Yeah, it's a great question. Yes, I probably am wired differently. Like, I think it goes back to, I was brought up with my old man's a really hard worker. And him and I, we would always just talk about work and business and working hard, and that was just normal. So to me, it is normal, and I didn't realize that most people aren't wired like that, because even when I was 12, I was 13. When I was 13 years old, I would wash glasses at a different venue until about 4 a.m., get up at 6 a.m. and go to these car boot sales, and we would sell all pub memorabilia that we'd collect from Dad, trying to just make more cash. So yeah, wired really different.
Why you had issues at school if you're at the pub till 3 a.m. cleaning glass?
Well, school never interested me. I just like science and stuff. I just didn't get it. I didn't care about it, to be honest. That was the big part. I loved money. I loved what money could do and what I love spending it. So I thought to be able to spend it, you got to make it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of, I'm just kind of coming back to your developments and the transition to that space. I mean, it's obviously a step up in what you're doing and has bigger financial rewards. There's obviously the financial, there's the risk associated to it. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's always going to be some level of risk. It's about mitigating that through knowledge and understanding. Have you learned a lot through the journey? What are some of the things you would share with people that are maybe looking at that transition through from the buy and holds of trading into the development space?
Yeah, well, the funny thing is we are still learning heaps. That's the big one. Big thing we're learning is, geez, everything costs way more than you budget for. Budget double and you probably spend it. But I think like just having a business partner, like we're joint venturing it all, but the amount that we can just bounce off each other is unbelievable. Like the knowledge that he's got and then there's different things that I bring to the table, that's really, really helped us, you know, and that helps solve all those problems. And just doing as much homework as we can before we pull the trigger, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, at 23, what sort of, you know, you mentioned 18 properties. Is there a monetary value that you've managed to turn over in the period that you've, you know, since we saw you in 2018? Where was it? Where in Aussie are you from originally?
South Australia, a little town called Port Perry.
Awesome.
Industrial town.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what have you managed to turn over in that period?
Yeah, it's about 10.5 million since then, and we've still got 3 more sales to come through. That should take that to about 11.5 million in turnover.
It's brilliant, mate. It's such a cool story. Congratulations on that. I think that's it's no mean feat, especially like I said, at your age. You're making me look very old here because I think, jeepers, I've got 12 years on you. But fantastic, mate. It's very, very impressive.
Thank you.
If you were to, as Matt Perks, you know, as an individual, everybody's journey and their goals is different. But one of the things that's massive for us at Wealth Mentor is understanding as an individual, what is wealth to you? What does it actually mean to you as an individual? For me, and I share this a lot with all the things I do, it's my family. It's about the time I get to spend with my family. What is it for you?
It's a great question. And I've actually been running that question in my head for the past 3 hours, and I don't have an answer, which is probably a problem because I think it changes all the time for me. You know, where we're at right now is probably, I don't know. I don't know if that's a sad thing or a good thing. I don't know what it actually means to us just yet. I know where the end goal is. The end goal for us is to be back in Australia with family, with friends, have enough money to not worry about money. You know, once we start to achieve that goal, we're happy.
Yeah. But that probably right there is what it means to you. I mean, you've just essentially said it, that it's the freedom that comes from the knowing that you've got income coming in. It's the freedom to then spend the time with the people you want. It's the freedom to then help the people that you want as well.
And helping people is a big part of it too, I think. Like I remember when we first did the course, they said once you start to create more money, you will be able to go and help people, but you need to create the wealth first. And, you know, since then we've been able to give to a few charities and stuff. There's a fantastic charity. Her name's Mummies in Need. It's a young girl that's at our age helping mums that don't have much, and she inspired us a little bit. So, you know, being able to help people like that, it's awesome. And that's just all through real estate.
Yeah, it's so cool. So cool. So for those of you guys that want to know a little bit more about who we are at Wealth Mentor, if you haven't seen any of the stuff, we are actually running a summit this weekend, and there's a couple of legends on it, Matt. You probably know Paul Southey, who is a legend of a mentor amongst us, and he's, you know, his numbers are fantastic. I think he's built now, it must be close on 700 to 800 homes.
Wow.
And we've also got Chris Dodd joining us, who's a trader, who's a next level trader as well. His last project was almost $500,000 profit. Absolute stinker of a deal. So this weekend on Saturday we've got the summit, and I'll just quickly bring that up for you guys if you give me 1 second. Hosted by yours truly. I'll be jumping in, hosting it, and I'd love for you guys to join me. We'll throw a link in the chat if you guys want to jump in and check out that awesome summit coming up on Saturday. Sorry, I had to jump in and do that.
No, I really hope people appreciate like what that actually takes to put on, and the networks and stuff that come out of those events. Like, we have built everything simply because of events like that, talking to people, networking with people, hey, we got this deal on, have you got some funds available? Someone might be vice versa, or there's so many opportunities with it. Brilliant. I hope a lot of people jump onto it.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. We've had pretty awesome registration, so I'm looking forward to jumping in. And I suppose everybody's in lockdown. They might as well watch Jono for the next 3 hours on Saturday morning, because can't do much else.
And the only problem is they'll learn things and go from there. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Absolutely. I mean, the opportunities are endless from where they can really take you. In terms of sharing some more of the knowledge or some more of the things that you've picked up over the time, if you were to share with people, people that maybe I know there's a bunch of our students on here that are doing some awesome stuff. There's some new people to Wealth Mentor, not necessarily about property, but what are some of the things that you as an individual gives you the drive? Do you create routines? Is there what is it that is about you to create the best life you can?
Yeah, well, I'll touch base on the sharing a bit of knowledge part. Like, I wish, like, when we were starting out, I'm not sure where everyone's at with their journeys, obviously, but when we were starting out, I think just pulling the trigger early. A lot of times, like, I don't know if it's the same with you, but I just remember starting out, I was analysing so many deals and not pulling the trigger, finding problems with things. And I also noticed, like, my first 3 or 4 deals, the profits were nowhere near as what they are now, but it's just about getting the experience. You've got to start somewhere. Even if you make a few dollars here and there, it's a brilliant learning experience. You can and then you just build off the back of that. I think that's the learning that I wish someone had like really pushed on me at the start. It's just been like, just buy it. As of routines and stuff, I'm pretty slack when it comes to routines. I don't know if that's because, like you say, once you've got a bit more money, you can kind of just start to do what you like. But my routines, they're just not there.
That's fine, and that's the cool thing, and that's the amazing thing about these coffee catch-ups is everybody that I've had on is different. I had Tom Rawson last week. I don't know if you caught that one. The dude owns a part share, and I think it's 3 of the Ray Whites, the biggest Ray Whites in Auckland. His morning routine is going for a walk, writing down the things on his phone, listening to a podcast, and prepping for the day. Everybody's something different. Whereas for some people, it's like, well, you know what? I got wealth. I'm not setting a fucking alarm clock. Are you silly? Everybody's different. That's something that we're really proud of, amongst Wealth Mentor, and really what we're trying to bring out is that for everybody, it's a different story. Yeah. And
I don't think people should judge as well. Like, I remember feeling guilty for being like, if I didn't set my alarm for 5:30 a.m. to get up and do things, you'd feel a bit guilty. But I think once you create that, you can do whatever you like. So yeah, that's a big part of it.
In terms of the future, now you've got the 18 lot subdivision. You talked about being able to hold some. You've talked about big goals. Do you want to share a little bit about some of those big goals that you've got?
Yeah, well, so ultimately we talk about becoming one of the biggest residential developers in the regions. I think there's a lot of big players in the major towns, Auckland, Wellington, Christchurch. And to be honest, it just doesn't really interest us. We like the country. We're all from the country. So we do aspire to do that. So in the next 2 years, we've got a goal of 52 new homes, and our residential homes are based on affordable, great investments, affordable for first home buyers. We are working on that model too, because we just think it's a more scalable business, that model.
Yeah. I know that when talking to your business partner, he did mention the fact that, a big part for you guys is first home buyers. Is that something that's still big for you guys, especially the age that you're at?
Absolutely. Like, I just know that I know what it's like trying to buy homes, obviously, and people our age, I couldn't imagine sometimes when the market's really, really hot. So the way we've actually designed our business is we're not doing any multi-offers. It's a first in, first serve, and it's a fixed price. What we advertise it for is what we ask for. That's really trying to help home buyers into it. And if there's an opportunity there for a home buyer if they need a little bit of a hand, or if there's anything we can do to help them in, we absolutely will, because we believe in the product we're selling, and we believe that, it'll be fantastic for home buyers to be able to start a family and do that sort of stuff.
That's awesome. And I guess that comes back to your point before about the fact that once you start to help yourself, then you get to start to help others. And jumping in, that's massive.
Yeah. And the cool thing is, don't get me wrong, we make money too out of it. But we've also, we're pre-selling our first two. We've sold one, and hopefully we'll get the other one underway. The 519,000, but they've currently got valuations on them at 540. So there is more to be taking out of it, but we don't feel we need to, because we know that when a home buyer buys it, instant success for them, 20 grand in their pocket straight away.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you can see on the bottom there a comment coming in from Therese. Awesome work, Matt, and amazing goals. It's always nice to share this, because I think it's inspirational. It's inspirational and aspirational to be able to show that you're making a difference out there. For us as well, with our summits, we do an opportunity for people to buy a ticket that gives the opportunity to help charities as well. So just the good that you can do through this is amazing. So Matt, some last parting words, some words of inspiration for people. If you were to give that last bit of advice, that last thing that you wish you had heard, or you would love for people to hear, maybe even for people your age, what are some things that you would like to share?
Just pull the trigger. I think if you're looking at property and you can afford it, and you find something that works, just go ahead and buy it. And also don't get mad if you miss out on it. I couldn't imagine the amount of contracts that we've written and the amount of homes we've missed out on and things like that, and got uptight about when we first started out. It is what it is, but just start buying. Yeah.
And, I think we're really proud to see the results that you've achieved. For any of our Wealth Mentor students, we get a little massive buzz. So massive congratulations on all you've achieved in a period of time.
Yeah, mate. Well, thank you for that. And I think it just goes to show it can happen. When you do these events and stuff, it is real. It can happen to anyone. So, mate, awesome work. Thank you very much.
No problem, and thanks for joining us today. Much appreciated. Any parting words, make sure you guys jump in the comments. I'm sure Matt will jump in later and check out the comments and see there's some nice comments there about you wanting to buy toys and things like that coming through. Matt, if anybody wants to find you or connect with you, Instagram, Facebook, what's the best place?
Instagram, Matt Perks, Facebook, Matt Perks. Just feel free to send me a message. Got any questions? I'm sure there's some younger people that might just have some questions that they want to talk to somebody that's our age. So feel free to send us anything.
Absolutely. And Matt, I set myself some lockdown goals. And one of those lockdown goals was to double my Instagram followers. Now I'm up about 6%. So I got some work to do. Lucky lockdown got extended. So if anyone out there is not following, please help me out. Help me out with my goals and hit me up on Instagram and give me a follow.
I love it.
It's been,
I love it. We'll tag you in a few posts, see if we can't help make that happen.
Oh, you're a legend. Thanks, Matt. And thanks for joining us. Thanks, everybody, also for taking the time. We had awesome numbers on live today. Tomorrow, we have got one of our mentors joining us, Justin, who lives in Australia. And if we can pull him away from the beach, he'll jump in for a Facebook Live. It's really cool to have these people on. Make sure you have an awesome day, guys. It's always a pleasure having you on. Thank you, Matt. And everybody, have a great day. And most importantly, make sure you stay awesome. See you, everybody.
Mate, thanks for having me.